which it's fine to look better. Looking hot is awesome. I love looking hot. I love hot women. But in dating, it's not the thing that's ever attracted me to somebody. And this is true of a lot of my friends. A lot of my friends, I'll see them when they're single, they'll be, sleeping with like model looking, amazing, like cover girl, beautiful women. And when they choose someone to date, they'll actually choose the woman that warms their heart and opens it. And it's not like they can't date these beautiful women. I see these beautiful women clamoring over them, really wanting to date them, but they don't want them. They want the woman that opens their heart. Sacred Degenerate Podcast 2. Let's go. I don't know if you could see right now because the fog's kind of going over, but we're chilling out in my backyard in Oahu. You could see Diamond Head right there. You'll be able to see it later during the podcast as things clear up. And if you're listening on just audio, go check out the video because I have a really beautiful setting that I record in. So welcome to the podcast today. Today we're going to be talking about dating from a spiritual perspective. So I feel like I have some really interesting ideas around dating and understandings about attraction and understandings about relationships and how things kind of tend to work. And I wanted to share them and see if, other people resonate with it or if it can help them or just give you a new perspective in some way of things that you might be dealing with in your life. Because one of the biggest things in dating, I think, that is people are so confused. They're just like walking around not knowing what the hell is going on. And they're trying their best. And sometimes when they try their best, they're actually doing the wrong stuff and stuff that's actually pushing people away. And I wanted to make a podcast just talking about dating from a spiritual perspective. So I'm chilling out here with my coffee. I've got a couple hours before my flight. I'm flying out to San Francisco to go to my grandpa's memorial. Going to get to see a lot of family members. And yeah, it's sad, but it's a celebration of life. And it'll be good to see a bunch of people that I haven't seen in a long time. And I love going to San Francisco. I love that city. Yeah. So dating is all about polarity. So the only reason that dating is such a more significant type of relationship usually than friendships is because of polarity. Because in friendships, we're connecting based on harmonic resonance in our heart space, in our interests, in our humor, which is also important for dating. But it's more of a connecting with each other side by side as equals or as one person helping the other a little more. But for the most part, there's not a lot of polarity in a friendship. But in dating, there is a lot of polarity. So when you're dating somebody in a healthy relationship, one person is going to have more masculine energy and the other person's going to have more feminine energy. And this does not even necessarily have to be a man and a woman, can be in a gay relationship. You can have one man that's more masculine and one man that's more feminine, one woman that's more masculine and one woman that's more feminine, or even you could have the roles switched. You could have a masculine woman and a feminine man. There are situations like that. But the general standard classic way of understanding this is a masculine man and a feminine woman. But like I said, it's more about the polarity than it is about the actual gender of the person. It doesn't really matter ultimately. It matters about the polarity. And polarity is an important thing no matter what in relationships because polarity is what creates attraction. So attraction between two people isn't just like, oh, that person looks good. Because think of how many things look good, but they don't turn you on. Like this background, this looks good, but are you like horny for it? I'm not. I'm not horny for things that just look good. That's not what sexual attraction is, you know? Attraction is polarity. You're attracted to things that have an opposite polarity as you and and match your frequency, you know? You're not going to just be physically attracted to like the feminine beauty of an ocean, you know? But it's the polarity that happens between two human beings, one of them being more masculine, one of them being more feminine. It creates this spark. And without that spark, then there's really no romantic connection. There's no sexual connection there. And it's just platonic. And a lot of people, it's really unfortunate, but they are in a relationship for so long that their relationship drops down out of polarity and goes into a place where they are basically just friends and, you know, maybe life partners, which isn't that bad, but it's really probably not what they were looking for when they got into the relationship. And polarity is something that you can shift in yourself. If you don't have a strong polarity, if you know deep in your core that you are really masculine, you really want to insert yourself into the world, you really want to inseminate the world with beautiful creations, you know, of a lot of different levels. I'm not just talking about with women or, you know, I'm talking about creating ideas that change the world, creating ideas that self-serve even, just creating things that look good or are fun. Creation is so important. And creation comes from both the masculine and the feminine, but both energies are really important. But if you know in your core you have a masculine energy, because everyone has a core energy, I guess some people, probably about what I read in a book called The Way of the Superior Man, is that about 80% of people are in pretty normal polarities. So if they're a woman, they have a feminine polarity. If they're a man, they have a masculine polarity. About 10% of people are kind of switched or flipped. And then about 10% of people don't really have a polarity. They're more neutral. So, you know, you might have a more neutral polarity. You don't really have a strong reaction to sexual attraction. You just kind of are like, oh, yeah, that exists, but it doesn't really stimulate you that much. And that just means you probably don't have much of a polarity, and there's no problem with that. But if you do look inside yourself and you feel that you have a masculine polarity, but you know that you're not embodied in it, you know that you're not living up to all of the things in your life that you want to be, you know that you're not embodying your higher characteristics in your life, then you can work on that. It's kind of like archaeology. It's like you're dusting off all of the dirt that's keeping you stuck. And when you dust all that dirt off, you find at that core is that beautiful radiance, whether that's this beautiful masculine radiance or feminine radiance or some combination. But usually we're leaning towards one path or the other. So for a man to get back into your masculine a little bit more, it's all about learning how to take action from a smoother, more relaxed place. So that's the core of it. And then taking responsibility for yourself. I'm going to cover up my equipment because it's rainy. So let's talk about it. To get back in touch with your masculine energy, it's not about what a lot of people think, like the whole, like all those red pill ideas about like, come on, go, like get into it, blah, blah, blah. And it's raining really hard, so I might have to pause this if my equipment starts getting fucked. Seems pretty good. Yeah, so it's not getting into your masculine is not about this like rah, like red pill, yeah, come on, let's go. Like that's like fake masculine energy. That's like survival masculine energy. It's like that's the type of masculine energy that you have when you might die tomorrow. Like you're in a war, or you're like your tribe is starving and you need to get food. I'm not saying it's not real. It's just like a lower masculine. It's like a survival based masculine. It's root chakra. It's very, deep down, it's scared. Deep down, that type of masculine energy is scared. It's scared, so it overcompensates by being very strong. But real masculine energy is just more like a solid rock that's just there and is moving in the direction that it needs to move in, if it's moving, or it's standing still. And it's not angrily like controlling, or it's solid. It's like a rock. It's grounded. It's intentional. It's doing what it wants to do based on its understanding of the whole environment. You know, in a higher masculine, it's taking into consideration the whole environment, the other people around you, when you are deciding what you do want to do. So really think about that. You know, masculine energy is not this like, yeah, let's go. Like that is a version of masculine, but that's not what you should strive for. What you should strive for is the ability to remain grounded in chaos. And that's really what masculine energy in its highest form is stillness within chaos. It's being the eye of the storm. So while everything is collapsing around you, you're able to stay clear, present, focused, and intentional. And different energies will come up and try to disturb you. And these energies, you know, they come up and they try to distract your attention. And if you can stay focused, it's even like me doing this podcast right now. If you're speaking, there's so many things. Like I could be thinking about, how do I look? How do I sound? Am I saying the right things? Or I could be thinking about what I have to do later today. I hope I make my flight on time. I hope this goes well. I hope whatever. I could be thinking about all of these things. But instead, if I'm just focused, I'm just delivering this message to these beautiful people that are watching. Then it becomes so much easier, but it's challenging, you know, because it tries to veer you off. My emotions, my distractions will veer me off, but then I continue to stay focused on that which I'm doing. And that's how you can strengthen your masculine energy, is basically putting yourself in situations where you have a lot of chaos, where you can't control every factor. And so you have to focus on the things that you can control. And it helps you hyper focus in on what is in your power instead of being moved and swayed by all the things that are not in your power. That's what masculine energy actually is. And it's, you know, it's valuable for men, women, non-binaries, anybody. It's valuable for anybody. It's just, if you have a sexual polarity of masculine energy, it's extra important, because if you're not in touch with this, you're not going to have a good dating life. You know, for a woman that's in her feminine, she could totally not have any connection to her masculine energy, and she could have an amazing dating life. And same thing with a man who's not in touch with his femininity, which seems wrong, but it is true. Being in touch with the opposite helps you have an even higher understanding of dating and a higher way of approaching relationships, but it's really not it's not the component that marks if you're going to be successful or not in dating. It's about embodying whatever polarity actually is yours. So let's talk about femininity then. So femininity is the chaos. It's the willingness to be swept away in what is. It's the willingness to be swept away. So masculine energy is almost the opposite in a lot of ways. It's the willingness to stay still and grounded during chaos. But femininity is to be swept away into this chaos, to be one with the chaos of the present moment. And by chaos, I don't mean something bad necessarily. I mean the unknown, the uncontrollable. So it could be this beautiful, chaotic sexual energy. It could be this loving, bubbling sensation, this caring, beautiful energy. But it's not operating on this logical, intentional, straightforward basis. It's emerging from the emotional space. It's emerging from the energetics of the moment. And it often has logical value, like taking care of a child. The love jumps out of the woman's heart and she just knows exactly how to take care of her son or her daughter. Where it's logical, it's like, obviously you should help your child, but it also can be illogical. Like, you really need to go to work one day, but you just have this overwhelming urge to paint. And so you call in sick and you paint all day and you follow that. So it's really important for everybody to be in touch with both of these kinds of energies because they're both so important and powerful. But like I said, when it comes to dating, it's much more important for a woman to be in touch with that. And that's what will attract amazing partners for her, or at least aligned partners to wherever she's at, which might not always be amazing. And I'm saying her, but like I said before, it could be a man that's in his feminine. Could be a non-binary person in their feminine. Doesn't matter. It's all about whatever you feel like you are at your core. If you have a feminine core or a masculine core, or a neutral core. Women or people that have a feminine sexual energy core can get more in touch with their femininity by allowing themselves to be swept away more often in life. Because our world is hyper masculinized. It's very much leaning towards favoring masculine energy. This is what a lot of people call the patriarchy. And I feel like they get confused and they think patriarchy is like a bunch of men controlling everything, but it's also the women. It's also the women that are in that same energy. And it's more of a masculine dominant energy, which men tend to get into and flow with more easily than women do. So it tends to have men succeed more, but it's not really about being a man. A woman with a very strong masculine energy is going to be super successful in this world. And we see that, we see that with a ton of women CEOs and business owners and a lot of really powerful women. And it's just because this world operates more on that masculine energy right now. The culture of the West is very hyper masculinized. And so, men and women get into this kind of masculine energy every day. It's like, got to do this, got to get this done. It's like intentional, outwards moving, logical, making decisions based on time and based on what should happen and how this should go and how that needs to be. And it's all this heady, logical driver of everybody's life. And what that does is it gets us out of touch with the chaos, the unknown, the wildness of the feminine, the wildness of nature. Just like, I'm doing a podcast and nature's just like, yep, just going to rain all over you. Here you go. Hope you enjoy being wet. Hope you enjoy just having all your whole shawl and microphone soaked in beautiful Hawaii rain. So nature's crazy, nature's wild, and nature is in touch with that unknown, that chaos, that feminine. So when we want to get more in touch with that, or if you want to enhance your dating life and you want to get more in touch with your feminine energy, you need to allow more time for yourself to be swept away by life. You need to allow more time to be emotionally enamored with that which is. And to act on impulses that don't make logical sense, even though you feel them very strongly. So you act on them. I'm not saying just to act on all your impulses. I'm saying that you can act on your intuition more often. And the more a woman or someone with a feminine polarity can get in touch with the unknown, can get in touch with the subconscious, can get in touch with their heart space, the more they will be able to magnetize, hypnotize, and attract amazing partners that align with them. It's really sad. I see a lot of women on TikTok that are just so obsessed with looking better. And they think that the reason that they're not having a fun, healthy, and loving dating life is because they don't look good enough. And that's not true. It's not true. You know, the reason that they're not having a healthy, loving dating life is because they are not understanding the value that they bring to men. And it's not their looks, it's their beautiful hearts. And so if they spent more time opening and blossoming their hearts instead of trying to look better, which it's fine to look better. Looking hot is awesome. I love looking hot. I love hot women. But in dating, it's not the thing that's ever attracted me to somebody. And this is true of a lot of my friends. A lot of my friends, I'll see them when they're single, they'll be, sleeping with like model looking, amazing, like cover girl, beautiful women. And when they choose someone to date, they'll actually choose the woman that warms their heart and opens it. And it's not like they can't date these beautiful women. I see these beautiful women clamoring over them, really wanting to date them, but they don't want them. They want the woman that opens their heart, which it's fine to look better. Looking hot is awesome. I love looking hot. I love hot women. But in dating, it's not the thing that's ever attracted me to somebody. And this is true of a lot of my friends. A lot of my friends, I'll see them when they're single, they'll be, sleeping with like model looking, amazing, like cover girl, beautiful women. And when they choose someone to date, they'll actually choose the woman that warms their heart and opens it. And it's not like they can't date these beautiful women. I see these beautiful women clamoring over them, really wanting to date them, but they don't want them. They want the woman that opens their heart. So this is some advice for women. It's like, you're already hot enough. Like, get hotter for yourself if you want to, but it's not going to help you attract a boyfriend or a husband. What's going to help you attract a boyfriend or a husband is blossoming your heart space and becoming more loving and becoming more wild and becoming more sensual and getting more in touch with your inner child and your inner sensuality and your inner imagination and being there. That's what makes a man stutter around you and get goosebumps when you walk by. It's not you having a nice ass or you having the best makeup done, those lashes looking no, it's not. It's about a man is head over heels for a woman when she makes him tingle in his heart, right? It's nice to have a tingle in your pee-pee too. But that doesn't make you want to date someone. That makes you want to sleep with someone. So if you want a bunch of men to want to sleep with you, then focus on looking hot. But if you want a certain man or men to want to date you and wife you up, it's not about looking hot. It's about warming and opening his heart. Because men are so afraid of commitment, not because they're douchebags and want to just be single and screw all these girls all the time. Like sometimes I'm sure it's that. But for the most part, like everyone, men and women, like we've been so hurt. We've been so hurt. And especially men have been hurt more when they started dating someone and then that person like lost attraction to them and started seeking validation elsewhere. That's when men feel hurt. Women, I think, feel more hurt when they really want to date someone and they never get to date the person, you know? But so you have to understand that men have a huge block towards commitment and towards relationships because oftentimes when they did get into a relationship with a woman, they lost all their power, they lost their confidence, they ended up getting into a situation where they were depressed and where they felt like they had no control over their life. And so they'll do anything to avoid that. They'll run away from that like the plague. So if you really want a man to commit to you, then the best thing to do is make him feel safe in committing. Make him feel safe in committing. Because for a man, the scary thing to do is to commit to a woman. It's not scary for a man to sleep with a woman. It's like the opposite for women. For women, it's really scary to sleep with a man. So a man has to make her feel very safe to open up sexually. But if a man wants to date a woman, she'll just probably jump right into a relationship if she likes him, you know? But for men, it's not like that. For men, they can jump into sex right away. But when it comes to relationships, they are scared. And the woman needs to be the one, it's okay, like comforting them, helping them open up and get ready to jump into a relationship. You see how it's different? The vulnerable place in a man is where he puts his resources, his commitment. The vulnerable place for a woman is who she gives her sex to, because she doesn't usually have to invest as much resources, time, or energy historically into the man. She has to invest her body into the man, maybe to take care of future children or to take care of the house or to take care, or she has a job and just, take care because she's in her feminine. Yeah. So it's an interesting thing. So you have to understand this dynamic about sex and dating. And for men, it's really good to understand because you'll see, oh, when I'm wanting to sleep with this girl that I met, it's so much scarier for her to do that. She has so much more risk in so many different ways than I do. But then women, and that's something that men do realize, I think, for the most part. But what women don't realize is it's the same thing for them. For them, for sex, it's like that's how men feel about dating. It's like really scary. It's like really hard to open up in that way with a woman, especially if you've been hurt in your past. And most men have been hurt by women, just like most women have been hurt by men. So the other thing about this is people need to understand how their dating standards work. So for women can basically sleep with like any level of man if they're attractive. A hot girl could get with a billionaire. They could get with Drake. Drake's probably out here hooking up with girls that, are receptionists and waitresses. He's not caring. He sees some tits and some ass and he's good. I'm not speaking for Drake, but you get my point. It's like powerful men will sleep with a lot of different women. So what happens with women is they're able to sleep with these elite, hyper powerful men, but they're not able to date them. And then they don't understand why. And then the men that want to date them are actually, to them, they see them as lower and below their league. But actually, those men are in their league for dating. The woman might be out of that man's league for like casual sex, but she's in his league for dating. But since she's having casual sex with all these hyper powerful, rich, maybe famous men, and they're not wanting to date her, she gets really confused. But what women need to realize is they're able to sleep with people way out of their league but they won't be able to date those people as easily. For men, it's the exact opposite. You're not really able to sleep with a woman that's out of your league, maybe on like a fluke, but 99% of women that a man would sleep with, they could probably date them if they just courted them a little bit, just were a little bit nice, a little lovey, and just kept asking them on dates. You're probably going to end, if you can, as a man, if you can sleep with a woman, you can probably date her. But as a woman, if you could sleep with a man, that has no consideration of if or if not you could date that person. And it's important to realize that, because it helps you. You realize the playing field is balanced. You'll see a lot of guys get jealous of girls that they can just, hook up whenever they want, but they can't date whenever they want. Men have the power that once they have a girl, once they've slept with a girl, they could basically date her. Men rarely have the issue of like casually sleeping with some girl that they really want to date, but she's just using them and like fucking them. Like, that doesn't happen. That doesn't happen for men. But it happens to women all the fucking time. Like, if you're a woman watching this and you're single, I bet there's a guy that you're sleeping with that you want to date, and he may or may not, probably not, wants to date you. That's just how it is. But for men watching, I highly doubt there's a girl you're sleeping with that you want to date that she won't date you. And it's just because of the value dynamics. Like I said before, it's harder for a woman to give up sex, just like it's harder for a man to give up his freedom and to be in a committed relationship. So it's important to know this stuff, because if you're a woman, you'll realize, oh, wow, a lot of these guys I'm sleeping with, the reason they won't date me is because they're a little bit out of my league. And that's okay. Like, it's totally okay. And what you'll realize is, you can have high standards, but have high standards for character. Have high standards for how someone treats you. Don't have high standards for how rich or attractive somebody is, unless that's really what you're into. But I would suggest just focusing on finding a person that makes you feel great, is attractive enough, and has amazing character, and has a longevity. You could see this person becoming a much more amazing person as they blossom and develop throughout life. This is the type of person you should think about dating. And then the guys that are just super hot or super powerful and rich, while you're single, you can enjoy that. You can enjoy the benefits of that, but don't get swept up into thinking that just because this guy's treating you nice, buying you stuff, and sleeping with you, that he would want to date you, because it's just not true. It's just not true. Just like I said before, highly powerful men will sleep with whoever they feel stimulated by. Like, they literally don't care. Like, there's a lot of men that just run through a ton of women, and that's their choice, And I'm not knocking it, and I'm not also saying it's cool. I'm just saying that's what they do. And it's important to realize that that's what's happening. And it will help you, it'll help you have a more accurate understanding of reality. And when you have an accurate understanding of reality, you can actually bend it to your will. You can do what you want with it. So for men, it's important to realize the opposite side too, which is, even though it's harder for you to get a girl attracted to you and want to sleep with you, you have the luxury that once you are with someone casually, you probably can date them. Not all the time. I'm sure it's not all the time. But you probably can get them to date you if you want to. So realize that even though you have to struggle more to find a woman, you don't have to struggle as much to keep them. And then women, they should enjoy the fact that they can enjoy sex and free and attract people very easily and have people come to them wanting to date them without them doing a thing. But they have the negative side of it's a little bit harder to find the guy that really wants to commit to you. So, there's pros and cons of both sides of the dating market. It's not, one side does not have more advantages than the other in terms of dating. There's just pros and cons of each side. And when you understand this, it's a lot easier to play the game. because as a man, you can take rejection more because you realize, oh, wow, that if a girl rejects me, it's not always that it usually doesn't even have to do with me. It's just that she didn't feel safe. She didn't feel comfortable. She didn't feel excited. And that's okay because that's a harder thing for her to feel excited about than me, you know? And vice versa for women. If you really want to date a guy and he doesn't want to date you, don't get offended. Realize it's a much harder thing for him to want than for you. It's a much harder thing for him to want than for you. Another aspect is when a man commits to a woman, he loses all his options. When a woman commits to a man, she doesn't lose any options. Because women are the ones that are pursued. So when a woman's in a relationship, she's constantly getting hit with DMs. She's constantly having people reach out to her, and she's being good. She's being innocent. She's not engaging with them, but she's still having these opportunities thrown at her. So she always sees what's available. But as a man, when you start dating a woman and you're committed to them, then you lose all your options because you can't be out there flirting and seeing who likes you, you know? And there's probably not going to be a lot of women that you would like that are sliding into your DMs. So, yeah, it's really interesting stuff. I really love thinking about this stuff because I feel like there's such a veil over it in society. People, people, for some reason, they think it's all about being hot. It's so funny. Like, sure, being hot contributes, but it's not. It's like one of the three main factors, but it's not like the number one highest, most important thing. The most important thing is polarity. There are ugly men, ugly looking men, no hate. They would probably call themselves ugly too, but they're just so in their masculine and and they're funny and they have such a good flow and they have such a good energy that they attract some amazing women, you know? And same with women. There are women that are, for women, I'd say men care a lot more about looks than women do. But even for a woman, like you don't have to be like supermodel 10 good looking. You just have to take care of yourself, be pretty attractive, and then honestly, open your heart big and wide. That's how you're going to attract an amazing husband or boyfriend is by having this vibrant, open heart space. It's not by doing your makeup better or having bigger boobs, you know? Like I said before, that'll help you attract people that want to sleep with you. But if you want to attract people that want to date you, it's in the heart. Because men don't see a hot woman and go, oh, I just want to commit to her and give her everything. They go, oh, she's hot. I want to hit it from the back. She's hot. you know? But what makes a man want to date a woman is when he's like, oh, I don't know, like, I'm just feeling different around her. And he starts changing, like, he starts softening into his heart space just from being around her. That's what men get really enamored with, you know? And obviously, they need to be a little attracted to you too. But mostly, it's not that they think you're the hottest person in the world. It's that they feel safe and open and loving with you. And to me, that's so much cooler than just being hot, is being able to open someone's heart, you know? So, yeah, let's check how the view is. Yeah, I love sitting out here. I can hear the birds. Got the strawberry guava trees. It's beautiful, huh? So, to wrap things up, if you want to enhance your dating life, step stronger into your polarity. You know you're in your feminine, get wilder, get freer, get looser, be less logical, be a little crazier even. tap into that energy within you that moves and shakes worlds, because you have that in you. And open your heart space, become more loving and nurturing of life, become present. And as a man, step into your purpose, step into your direction. Don't be thrown off by little distractions. Don't be thrown off by movements of your mind or movements of the energy of other people or other people's perspectives or their beliefs or what they want of your life, and stay set on what it is that you want to create in your life. So thanks for watching. Be back again next week. Peace.